Welcome back to the weekend show. You're now watching the political segment. We'll be discussing the controversies in the All Progressives Congress, APC, as well as the Osun crisis and their upcoming convention. As Osun state governorship election is near, the tsunami rocking the state's chapter of the All Progressives Congress increases every day as the immediate past governor of Osun and Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, has openly declared the feud between him and incumbent governor Gboyega Oyetola. On Thursday, Aregbesola, who has pitched his tent with his former SSG Moshood Adeoti ahead of the party's primaries today, alleged that his successor destroyed what he used 8 years to build, having begged to reconcile with him in the past 2 years. Meanwhile, the forthcoming convention of the All Progressives Congress, APC, has split governors elected under the political party into many factions. One group wants a convention to hold as planned on February 26, which is next Saturday, and are working assiduously towards settling for a consensus candidate. The second group, which is made up of mainly first-term governors, want the convention postponed and a mechanism to return the Governor May Malabuni Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee to continue. On today's program, we'll be discussing all the intrigues, and we have
Kola Alapini, an international human rights lawyer. Welcome back to the weekend show.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Also, Kunife Gerald Ogbonna. He is a lawyer and National Publicity Secretary of APC Professionals Forum. Welcome.
Thank you for the invite. I'm glad to be
We
here.
have return guests here, and so this should be fun.
We do.
Also joining us is Tonye Isokareri, Secretary of the Progressive Youth Movement, PYM, a youth organization in the APC.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Good morning.
Tony, I wonder, is the crisis within your party, the All Progressives Congress, just a true reflection of the leadership skills and abilities or inabilities of your party, given the fact that, the larger society is also suffering the brunt of, the leadership crisis that is occurring in your party? We look at the fuel scarcity that is going on today. We look at, the fallout of the different primaries and by-elections that are taking on. Is the leadership crisis in your party reflecting on the larger society at large?
Thank you. First of all, when you talk about crisis, I won't call it crisis. I'll call it family disagreements going on within the party. Like in every, group of people, there will always be, issues, and challenges. What we need to do as a party is to call the, various factions together and see how to amicably, settle those issues. So I won't call it a crisis. I'll call it an internal family, issue. And at the end of the day, we will sort it out. That's what happens.
Well, Toye, while you say it's not a crisis, I remember in December, the Progressive Youth Movement, we had 3 of your contemporaries here in the studio with us, where they had very genuine requests, some of which included,
Which has been met.
Which has been met.
Yes.
However, we have seen Osun State, there's a crisis right now. Oyo State, there is a crisis. Kano State, there is a crisis. And then the national party chairmanship issue. I mean, I must commend the party. I've seen more campaigns for the national party chairmanship than for presidential candidates in the next election. However, there's clearly an absence of leadership if we have crisis in multiple states as of today.
So like you rightly said, the Progressive Youth Movement had certain things that were set out, especially because we wanted youth inclusiveness, and trying to ensure that the party carries the young people along. And that was, an internal issue. And like you rightly know, like I said, most of all those things have been, addressed or being addressed. So it shows that, the party listens, or the leadership of the party listens. Which faction?
Because even as of today, we are hearing of different factions at the national level.
There's no faction. It's just, the opposition trying to, buttress some of the things or amplify things that they shouldn't amplify. It's like I said, it's a family issue, and at the end of the day, some of all those things will be addressed. For instance, the Progressive Youth Movement said we wanted a February 26 election. They've given us a February 26 election, which is next week, Saturday. We said we wanted, we had a youth mandate where we wanted, the vice and deputy positions to be given to people 45 years and below. And those are some things that we're in the working or in conversations with the national leadership. We also have spoken with the various chairmanship aspirants who have called on us to, have conversations, and these are some of the things we've put on the table as something that they should begin to pursue. Because at the end of the day, we are looking at a leadership that will take over the party, a leadership that is, tech savvy, who understands what the problems are and the challenges, a leadership that will listen and is accessible, a leadership that will be able to, ensure that, the party is, all the worrying factors, all the people who have issues are brought to the table. Why do people actually raise their voices or, come out? Because they feel like they're being, marginalized or something. So you bring them to the table and have, understand that the challenges is within and we can address it within. It's not external.
But Tonya, would you, in all seriousness, would you concede to the fact that the inability of the All Progressives Congress to get its act together, to get its leadership right, is reflecting on the Nigerian society? It's not funny that for the past 2 weeks now, or even more, Nigerians have had to stay in the fuel queue for an average of 4 hours. This is reflective of your party, wouldn't you agree?
So yes, we have the party, for instance, the Minister of State for NNPC is a member of the party. That doesn't mean that there are various government agencies that handle all those things. What I feel as an individual that the government should have done is to hold accountable some of these things. And I hear they are holding the people accountable to that's brought us to where we are today with regards to the bad fuel and all those things. So the people are being held accountable as we speak with regards to that. So yes, there are challenges, and those challenges are being addressed as they come up. Nigeria is a big country with a lot of issues, and you can't, we need to stop looking at every leadership as God. They also have their own shortcomings, and when they address those shortcomings, when they see those shortcomings, it's been addressed, and we move ahead to the next thing.
Gerald, how hard is it to organize a party convention? For a party to say, since it's a family issue, family members have family meetings, and for over about 15 months, a party can't come together to have a family meeting to trash out their issues and elect leadership. How hard is it for a party, the ruling party, which has the president, who is also the party leader, and has a future contestant who is another national leader of the party? How hard is it to have a common convention to select internal party leadership?
Thank you. I like how you've latched onto Tonye's family, addition to family. Well, it's not hard at all, but then again, I think, the nature, the variant of politics we play in Nigeria is actually at the root cause of what you're seeing. It's not hard at all. I need to point this out. This is not peculiar to the APC. I'm staying with the APC. When PDP was a government in power, same obtained. Take my word for it. Elect the next, government, federal government, outside of, the APC, which won't happen anyway, will clinch power. Okay, Tony can agree with that, Elect the next one. The variant, brand of politics we play in Nigeria, I call it zero-sum politics, is to be blamed. And that's why the forum I represent, the APC Professional Forum, came to be in the first place. What is at play is actually, you talked about what you call crisis, and I agree with Tony. It is no crisis. It is actually, a hallmark of partisan politics. Politics thrives on the altars of contestation. When you have contestation, there are bound to be disagreements. Now, the thing is this, and that's our concern at the APC Professionals Forum. While you contest, while there are bound to be disagreement, because it's a contestation of ideas, not of, exchange of blows. Our concern is, can this contestation be carried out in a predictable manner? By that, what do we mean? Can it follow laid down rules strictly? At our party level, the party constitution, and then other laws and conventions that govern democratic practices. Oh, come on, guys. As we speak, Trump has been out of office. Let me run to America, where we think, we learn from Their type of presidential system is what to practice as well. Trump has been out of office for about 2 years. The Republican are at it. Contestation. He is holding the heart of the party, and just like Oyetola is holding in as an incumbent in Osun State, those who are not in charge are fighting. Many Republican, leading lights of Republican in the Senate, in the Congress, are crying out. It's either you align with him or you stand out on your own, and the war is on. So when you have a fight in Osun State, because Aregbe has issues, scores to settle with his former chief of staff, when he was governor for 8 years. Now they are on opposing side. I have no problem with that, provided at the professional forum we say, what are you bringing to the table? Now we hear rumor, why you people talk about that? He says that, the incumbent is destroying his legacy project. There is another story, which I can't lend, credence to, but it's out there, that says he's not servicing certain interests. Now that is his actual grouse. Whatever it is, let it go according to rule. I hear little violence here and there, little or much. It shouldn't be. So listen, unless we want to run, a convent, a church, even churches, the presiding bishop mentors somebody, he rises, they fall apart, and that's the church or the mosque. How much more politics? So we need to put these things in context. What we call crisis, we are free to choose the words we want to use.
Gerald, are you happy with the situation of your party at the moment?
What's the situation of my party? Now let me put this straight.
Going back to my question of how hard is it to have a convention?
At the APC Professionals Forum, we think that the present delay, especially since we have a date set, and it is just about less than 2 weeks.
A week from today.
In a week's time, that we are dilly-dallying is of concern to me. Now, let me give a personal opinion. This does not reflect the position of the group APC Professional Forum. I think that the posture of President Muhammadu Buhari coming into office and wanting to face governance, leaving the running of the party to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the party leaders was the right one. But I was shocked when I heard the media, very enlightened, blaming him then and using the PDP template, which has always been an Obasanjo strong man, comes and will, the big stick, calls national chairman at will, gives him pounded yam, and sacks him the next moment. I think that was the best. However, he was pushed when the crisis of Oshomole, was going on, and he came out grudgingly. The president came out grudgingly and sacked Oshomole's NWC. I asked the question, personal opinion, where are we today? This is an unpopular opinion. Even at the Professionals Forum, when I raised this, so many of the eggheads there, counter me. They disagree. As a lawyer, my position would have been, let the litigation go on. They say, party will be disintegrated. I say, no. You have rules governing, a group of people, governing a country. When there is disagreement and there cannot be, a consensus, you go to court and test it. Oshomole should have been allowed to test, that is purported, suspension, and that of the coming of Giadom. True, as a lawyer, that was an order, ex parte order that has expired, that brought him in. The only thing was that somehow the respect party members had for the president because of his personal integrity. And there's no question about that. They did not go to court to test when he said nobody should go to court. That cases should be withdrawn. It was not a law, but people respected. I am sure if people have gone to court, something would have given. The way out would have been for a precedent to be established, because the highest decision-making body of a party is the National Convention. You elect, a chairman. 2 years on, in some funny ways, he's removed, and then you set a new date. I was asking my colleagues, lawyers, eggheads. I said, so what happens? You elect a new one through CECPEPC. What then happened? Another little trouble. If someone, it doesn't favor me in my state, he favors the other party, I go and cook up something. Again, we remove him. It's going to be what? A merry-go-round. So at the APC Professional Forum, we and not particularly partisan, but we're politicians. We are out to ensure that things are done regularly. This politics Nigeriana, politics the Nigerian brand, zero-sum politics, where you must, I'll end. Imo State. The moment Oshomole did not give respected, I respect him a lot, Rocha Sokorocha, his way, they fell out. If he switches the other way, it is good. If he supports him, it's good. Let's go to where again? Give me one place. River State. Oshomole somehow felt, whether rightly or wrongly, that Magnus, Abe faction, in a contestation in River State, he is the one that should be allowed to go. Amechi had issues with him. Where else should I go? You name it. It is the same in PDP. So it's not just an APC issue, especially in Nigeria, where we have this B mentality. Politicians have B mentality. They flow where the honey is. Once you are in power, all of them start jumping ship. And no ideology, and that causes more trouble. Any party you elect tomorrow, ma'am, sir, any party you elect that has the center tomorrow, we face this crisis. And that's why we need sound mind, professionals who are not desperate for power, to come into politics.
Exactly. Ideology is the key word. There are so many follow-up questions to ask from what you have just said, but I want to move on to Kola. With the APC Convention coming up next weekend, you have some governors that want the May Bala Buni-led Caretaker Extraordinary Committee to continue. What does their constitution say about this? Is it legal to extend a caretaker committee for much longer?
I'm not an APC party member. I think that question should have gone to
So let me take you back to you, Gerald.
Well, whatever, the neck of a party decides to do is legal. The other organ of the party that has a right to override that is the National Convention. So to that extent, technically, yes, it is legal. If the neck meets properly, following, the rules, convenes properly, and takes a decision that the Caretaker Committee should take us to National, Convention, that will be right. However, it will go against the grains of democratic tenets, because it should be the majority, because NEC is just a composition of those who are up there. Do you understand?
Now
so ideally, it should be that people should be given their democratic rights.
But it will still be within the legal purview, and they could do that.
Would.
So let me come back to you now. Gerald mentioned a few things about ideologies and this rift being about, a clash of ideas. But with all the explanation, I don't see what ideas are being fought over. I see loyalty being discussed. I see politics playing a, grand role in all this rift that's going on. So how do we bring ideology back to politics, if ever ideology had ever been the forming foundation of these political parties in the first place? Because as the 2023 general elections approaches, most Nigerians want something that is different, and the two major political parties don't seem to be offering that to Nigerians. So how do we go back to the drawing board and start to sketch up ideologies that can actually be discussed, rather than talking about loyalty and eroding the 8 years legacy that is very, what is it called? That most people don't even know what that is, because former governor of Osun State, Aregbesola, most people say he didn't pay salaries when he was in office. He left a very bad legacy of infrastructural deficit and what have you. So we don't even know what legacy he's talking about in the first place. So when you go back to ideologies, how can we actually make this the focal point of the discussion, rather than stroking the egos of these politicians?
Okay, I think you just went through all the issues like hot knife through butter.
Very important.
First and foremost, there are no permanent friends or foes in politics. There are only permanent interests. And that is exactly what you're seeing. Secondly, there is no basic difference in the ideology of the two major parties. And I was saying this the last time I was here, that it's very rare for you to see a member of the Labour Party in the UK cross over to be a Conservative. I've not said it's not happened before. but it comes once in a blue moon. And in America as well, which template we're largely following, to see a Democrat just switch over to become a Republican because he wouldn't be given the seat or he lost the primaries. You don't crisscross carpets like that, because basically you stand for ideology, you stand for ideas, you stand firmly. What we've seen in Nigeria is there's no basic difference between PDP and APC. These parties are just vehicles for achieving political ambitions. And I don't want to use religion because I'm involved in some religious cases. Let's see how we can find the best example. If you stand for something, you want to get married, for instance, and you have strong beliefs on how you want to raise your children, perhaps the kind of schools you want them to go to, and you meet another gentleman, it fits the structure of who you want. He's tall, or he's dark, he's dashing. And the way he wants to raise the children, your children, potential children, is different from yours. It's very unlikely that you're going to get married to him, because there's a basic difference in ideology. You want to go send children to private schools, for instance, go to school in England or Switzerland. You can afford it. But you say, no, I went to private school, or I went to public school in Nigeria, and they were very good. And you're trying to tell them, no, public schools have failed. I went to university. When I went to university, I went to the Premier University. We used to have dinner and lunch, and it was a full chicken. It's no longer like that. And he keeps on insisting there's nothing wrong with our educational system. I bet you won't marry that person, because there's a very big shift in how you see things. You want to give birth to your children in America so that they can have the passport when they're born. He's a firm believer in Nigeria. No, I don't have an American passport. I was born here. If I can go to the American embassy and get a visa for myself, the children will do the same. And you say, hey, guy, Nigeria don't be so anymore. And he keeps insisting, you will not marry the person. And that is exactly where we are. You rightly said that Rauf Aregbesola himself was notorious for not paying salaries. He left uncompleted projects. There was uproar every time. A lot of time they had to run to Lagos to bail them out. It's a notorious fact. If it's not declared openly, we know about it, we read about it. So what exactly is he fighting about? So you would say permanent interest. Don't be surprised when they reconcile tomorrow. He's going to campaign. It happened in Lagos as well. They did the same to Ambody. Ambody, being an Elijah person, might not have had the kind of oomph he should have had in Lagos, because they migrated to Epe. But when they wanted to discipline him, they threw him to the streets and to go and test the popularity with direct primaries. We are now going to see if these direct primaries are going to work in Osun now. If Aregbe is so popular on the streets, the elections will tell. Or if Oyetola is the one who is more popular, or his ideology is more popular, we'll see.
So, Kola, Tonye and Gerald, my good friends, spoke about, there's something they'll agree on. They'll agree on the integrity of Mr. President. And APC, for some reason, for once came up with an ideology which was change. Now, in their responses, I've heard them say these things are normal and it has happened with PDP and it will happen again. So it makes me question the change ideology. However, President Muhammadu Buhari is the Minister for Petroleum. 100 million liters of contaminated fuel was brought into the country, which has left the country in 2 weeks of fuel scarcity and chaos when it comes to the financial implication. As a man of integrity, it's 2 weeks. They say things are being done, but we've not seen anything done. Secondly, with Gerald, what he said with the NWC, when the party had issues, the president called them and said no one should go to court. And they listened, and they did that. The Electoral Amendment Act, I think, expires in about 3 days if the president doesn't assent to it. So we've had change, we've had integrity. Do you feel the president's lack of willingness to put his foot down on certain things also contributes to the instability and the crisis we see in the party? Because when it suits them, they have certain things that they do and it works, like when he said don't go to court. How come we're not seeing that with the Electoral Act?
Before I quickly forget, normally I like to jump down, but I don't have that. One of your buzzwords, integrity.
Yes.
Right. What's the second one?
Change.
Change. And I will add the third one, capacity. And I'll start with the third one, which is capacity, and link it to where we are. This gentleman called president was Minister of Petroleum in the 70s, and we had fuel queues. He doesn't have the capacity. He is now the Minister of Petroleum as well, and we're having the same few queues. I would go by statistics, and I say, as Minister of Petroleum, he has failed. Simple as ABC. I mean, I don't have time. We're trained to do international and domestic risk assessments, and I can just tell you in 2-3 minutes if he doesn't have it. Simple as ABC. Let's not beat around the bush, because this squarely lies on his table. If you cannot perform as Minister of Petroleum, why hijack the position? I guess he just wants to be Minister of Petroleum, so he knows what is going, especially after what Diezani did. And we're hearing all these stories. He wants to know who is allocated oil blocks, who does this, who does that. It's just being an administrative Minister of Petroleum. And you can see where it has led us. When it comes to integrity, it's debatable, because the man campaigned on the mantra of change. I will not do medical tourism. He fell ill. He's the first person who ran away to London for 6 months and parked the presidential jet there. They had to give us a waiver. So when we're talking about integrity, as I said, it's debatable. I don't belong to any political party. I can speak freely. I speak for the common man on the street. I speak for the professional. I speak for people who can see things the way they are. They might not be able to speak like this because they will be charged for anti-party activities. So what are we talking about when you say integrity?
Electoral Amendment Act, let's talk about that.
There you go with integrity again. Oh, we're going to change things, we're going to do things differently. They gave you the act on the eve of the election the last time. He refused to sign. He said it was too close. Isn't that what happened? When they were talking about electronic voting and all, they said, oh, it's too close to elections, because the governors battled him to a standstill. So they know they were going to lose with electronic transmission of results real time. And I've said it before. We're too hypocritical. We vote for Big Brother electronically, real time. You see the results. It is audited by Arthur Anderson or PwC. I'm not advertising for them. Nigerian Idol, all this, we vote electronically. Nigerian Bar Association, we've been voting electronically for almost 10 years
Not
now.
without its issues.
But why can't we have electronic votes and have our issues and resolve it with Nigeria, with Nigerian elections? Are you following me? If you don't, practice makes perfect. You didn't learn to become a master driver in one day. I saw Sasu driving the way the other time. Boom. So, there was a time you were shaking at the wheels, and you had to have somebody beside you. So it's practice makes perfect. We should do the right thing. And this man came in promising. What about protests? Was he not protesting in Lagos? He protested against fuel scarcity, or removal of subsidy, this and that. He protested. And then you clamp down on protesters now. If the previous president had clamped down on you, would you have become president? And let us say things for what they are.
Gerald, I see you itching to respond, but I want you to structure this response, because we're reeling the conversation in right now, because we only have about 10 minutes to the end of the program.
You know, with my people like my brother, they are, the people we are calling to get into politics. It's easy, fantastic. The optics are wonderful when we see it and enunciate principles and policies. I and many of my colleagues at the APC Professional Forum were once like that. Social media, TV, and all, yet the worst of society, those we think we can never come close to, are ruling us, year in, year out, one tenure after the other. Then what's the worth of our work? Quickly, a friend of mine, a lawyer, a colleague as well, in the office, shocked me. Abroad trained, with his Queen's English accents, Edo State. He's your brother. Guess what? Married to an Ethiopian beauty. He shocked me about 2 weeks ago in our office. He came to see myself and my partner. And then we got talking. He has 40-something. He has never voted all his life. But when he talks about Nigeria this way, oh, these guys, what does it take to do this, do this? Then I said, how do you intend to change it? By this? How many years have you done it? What are you leaving for your children? Get into politics. Osasu, may I shock you? Let me shock you. Now we are enunciating all this. Guess what? It is the same Aregbe and Oyetola. Give me another state where we have, disagreement that you call crisis. It is the same Imo State, the same Rivers. They are the ones that will choose a presidential candidate and give to you to endorse. They have already elected. What you are doing come February 2023 is just, saying yes to what people you think don't know what they are doing are choosing. That's why the APC Professional Forum, we are there. You don't want to know what we do to ensure that things go. And we are outnumbered. Come in, sir. It is not something of pride to say, I'm not a politician. I can speak my mind. We have spoken our minds for 60 years. Where has it gotten us? Well, let me quickly refer to some of the things he raised. Number one, without holding 100% brief, because when the president is wrong, yes, I'm a party man, what we do is find channels that make sure we get to him. And then the rest, we'll take it up when he's responded. Number one, fuel queues. Under the PDP, and don't accuse me of comparison, because if you say today is not good, you have to tell me that yesterday was better. Every season, Christmas, Easter, winter, what do we call it in Nigeria? Salah, you queue forever for the past 16 years. This is the major one in about 7 years under President Buhari. Tell me that is not an improvement. Oh yes, I know, I don't need you to tell me it is an improvement. And where we stand, the APC Professional Forum, is to ensure that those, because that's the tenet of professionalism, ethos that we ascribe to, that those who will be disappointed if those that made the mistake or whatever the blunder that led us to this are not met with punitive, sanctions. They must be sanctioned. And I hear, and that's all we can do, that the MPC is doing everything to make sure that that error, the gap, is corrected. We believe it will be in a question of time, because at least we know what caused it. What else, do you mention? It is not true that Buhari is clamping down on protesters. We will rush to NSAS. We know the story. We know the story. NSAS protesters were allowed 2 whole weeks until things got violent. Call it whether government induced, because I know that in, is it Korodu? Okay? That hospital had been bombed before government went to Lekki. So it is not true. People still protest.
Gerald, sorry, I want to interrupt you. I'll let you complete what you're saying, but just a quick fact check. Unity Fountain here in Maitama down the road was an open place where I remember during Bring Back Our Girls, Obieze and a couple of people who campaigned for this government in power used to go there and protest every Tuesday. For all protests, even when we pushed for the Not Too Young to Run bill, we always went there. Right now, that place has been fenced, and there's constant police presence. So when you say they haven't clamped down on our civil rights to be able to protest, I just want to say that we need to clear this state. Sorry, I just want him to be able to speak.
And I also want to give him one. Did you see the SUVs with government goons instigating the right? We have it on YouTube. Did you see? It's normal protesters were using SUVs, putting thugs into them.
To that.
Okay, who were those?
A friend of mine authoritatively informed me that the meeting, those that carried that happened in Jikoi. Those are actually people that say they are party members from a certain place, but they did not have, what do you call it, government approval and backing. Those were individuals that acted, and that's why we talk about zero-sum politics. People that think they want to remove our government. We no go agree, and we warned against it. When a peaceful protest to address police brutality, that the police has beaten me for representing my client, has been manhandled. We supported them. Segalink supported them, who has been campaigning for it since 2017. But at a point, he knew it was going violent. Government had not acted, at Lekki. He said, guys, it is time to stop this. Let's engage, because they refused to engage. Is protest an end in itself? The answer is no. When you have the ears of the government, for the first time in history, I said they held the government by the jugular. Every request was made, send a team. They said, no, it's organic. We are bees. We are locusts. We don't have any leader. It is bad. Everything rises and falls on leadership. No leadership, you continue. What has happened in Canada? The famous, truck protest. Of course, when it's about to threaten the existence of the state that you want to correct the ills inherent in it, what do?
But the government of Canada,
if they had, excuse me, sir, let them remain. Are they still there?
But they handled it differently.
Are they still there?
No, they're not there.
Sir,
but it was handled differently.
How did?
Was anyone killed?
Was anyone killed?
Sir, they should have remained there ad infinitum, block everywhere, criminals. In my, estate, I couldn't go home. Young boys from any group, they block you on the way. Unless you pay through your nose, you don't pass. That is anarchy.
Okay.
And that's the problem I have with some professionals, middle class out there, like my friend I told you about. Please, there should be reality check. At the point, I'm on air, I don't know if I should mention his name, a popular Nollywood actor carried his placard before any Lekki incident. Buhari must go. A protest to change, brutalization of citizens turned to regime change. Turn to, end bad governance. How do you end it in a jiffy? Through the ballot box if you don't like the team. No. So please, I want to always make sure that, we have issues clear cut. The truth is, in terms of you don't like Buhari, you don't like the APC, it's fine. Wait, 2023. Make sure you get the better person, because like I said, we will win that election. Yes, we will. But if we don't win and you succeed in bringing another person, invite me back.
So Gerald,
1 year of that government,
Gerald, I see. Okay, so let's bring it back. Just a second. Let's bring it back. And okay, Tonye Aregbesola, Osun primaries is today. We've seen how fracas within the party has cost the party in places like Zamfara, in places like Rivers State. And you've seen situations where the party wasn't even able to field the candidate. What is the party doing to hold Aregbesola accountable at this point in time?
I think the first thing first is what we have done, which was very important, was the direct primaries. Let each and everybody go and try out their popularity. Test your popularity. If you feel like you hold a structure or you feel like you've done well within the party, go out there and let the members of the party vote for you. If you win it, it's now clear cut. If you win, you won. If you lose, you lost.
But it still doesn't speak to holding someone accountable for his or her actions from the party. If there's leadership, we speak about anti-party affairs.
It is leadership that has made the direct primaries hold. That is the solution to the issue. Because who are you going to give the structure? This one is a governor, that one is a former governor.
And a minister.
So nobody can rein them in.
So at the end of the day, it's not nobody can rein them in. Don't forget, it's not a school, it's not a secondary school where you tell this person sit down, this person get up. This is politics. There's freedom of expression. There's freedom of followership. People will definitely, toe the line of who they feel, best suits their, endeavors. And in this case, there are various people within the Osun State APC. And the party leadership has said, okay, to solve this issue, go for direct primaries. Go and test your popularity among the people. That's a solution in itself. Instead of having an indirect primaries where it's a delegate system, that is the way to solve an issue. For us in the APC, especially in the progressive youth movement, when my brother was talking about getting more people into the system, last year when we had the revalidation of the APC membership, our group went painstakingly across the 36 states, getting more young people with proven character, with people who we know can offer something to the party, to get them into the system. You see, we can complain from now till tomorrow, but if you leave politics for the people who make politics what it is today, trust me, it is not going to change in any dispensation or the other.
I completely agree with you. I think talking about it is not enough. We must go in there and get our hands dirty. But Tony, one thing, we are in the political segment, so we do have to discuss the political intrigues and interests. Yeah. But what's most important to me and Andy and the viewers of the weekend show is infusing ideology back into politics. You would have to agree that the entire political landscape as it is bereft of ideology. Kola mentioned it earlier.
I agree with you.
So I love the fact your progressive youth movement, you lot had your demands that you were asking of your political party. You had some ideologies that you wanted to champion. But we're looking at the case in Osun right now. You have Aregbesola, who allegedly released a statement that he was loyal to former Governor Bola Tinubu, and he's not being paid back. There's no ideology in that conversation. It's just about me. It's just about consolidating more power. It's just about lording over, the poor, citizens.
Yes. So to answer your question, you see, those are some of the things that we've been very intentional as a group for the agitations we've been agitating. So, for instance, right now we're saying that who will be our next chairman, because the present crop of national leaders are leaving come next week. We want to be able to have a chairman who will begin to address some of these issues. And we don't want a chairman who is too old or who doesn't understand, you know, what the present day realities are. We want a chairman who will be able to bridge the gap between the young and the old, a chairman who will be able to look at the party holistically and remove the powers from the governors. So a party that's independent of a governor that is sponsoring, you know, a structure or a system. The party should be able to stand on its own so that we won't have challenges like we're having today, you know, in the various states. That is the type of chairman we want, and that's what we've been agitating towards. We don't want a chairman who doesn't even understand. For instance, we say we have 42 million. How do we begin to identify those 42 million people if we can't go on a system and just, you know, click on the button and be able to say, okay, Toye is, you know, a member of APC, he's in this ward, he's in this unit, he's in this state. So we need to be able to have a chairman who understands the challenges, and that's why we've been fighting that. Look, all these former senators, former governors, or whatever you call them, yes, they have their value to, you know, to place, but we want a chairman that, you know, is ready to get his hands dirty. A chairman who is not too old to campaign, because already the campaign seasons are beginning to start.
But all I see are old men
so that's my
campaigning for
question.
chairman.
Yes.
We see all the posters
we don't have
every
all
single
old
day.
men. No, we don't have all
Name
old
one
men.
young person,
We have
please.
younger people. We have Saliu Mustafa. We have Senator Sani. We have there are a few of them who
How
are
old
still
are these
young.
people?
These two people I just called, I think they are less than 60.
So this is my question. So back to, and I'll bring this to you, Gerald. I respect you, Antonio, because I see the work you people are doing within your units, within the party. It's commendable. We must be honest about it. However, there's still the higher level. And with the qualities you have both spoken about, what you want to see in the next chairman, Gerald, will you in all honesty say, with the list of people running for that position now, we have anybody who is as tech savvy, anybody who is forward thinking, anybody who is innovative, amongst this crop of people who are running for the party chairmanship today? Will you in good confidence say
yes,
that?
Yes, I do.
One
is my candidate. I won't name his name unless I'm permitted.
No, we can.
Sonny Sylvester Monidafe is my candidate. Once those who know him, when you mention him, they say, he will not win.
Will he win?
He will not win. Why? By the way, he's 60 plus. But he is, no, it's not about, you know, twisting our faces. Listen, sir, you're a lawyer. I see how he responded. You want 25? Get into the field. Leave social
I'm not 25.
Media. So I didn't say you. I said, you want a 25-year-old to be national chairman, right? We talk experience or not. He can have it, but you need to get into the field. Because chapter 4 says, you know, freedom. You know, you have to go and contest. That's what we're trying to do. If I had my way, I'm going to get his number. Because some of the things he mentioned are exactly what we're fighting for. We synergize. But guess what? He knows. We are crowded out. Because people have been in that business for donkey years. And chapter 4 gives them the right, constitution, to do that. We are not going to wake up one day and say, all you old people, go away. Or we use violence, protest, to chase them all away. Get into the system. When it's convenient for us, we reference a Macron.
Gerald.
He has been in the system. No, am I not speaking to the issue?
No, Gerald, unfortunately, we've run out of time.
Thank you very much.
Oh my, we really have, actually. We actually
Let's
don't have...
stop social
I was
media.
enjoying the conversation so much, but we actually
Sorry.
don't. We have to go. Apologies. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time in today's program. We will continue the conversation maybe next week, but we will continue the conversation. And next week is your convention. Hopefully you have a convention next week.
We have a convention next week. The
President
has said February 26th we'll have an election.
Okay, we'll look forward to that.
All
right, that's it for today's program. Do follow us on social media at Weekend Show NG, at TOS TV Network, at Osasu Igbenejan, at Andy Madaki on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Until then, take very good care of yourself. God bless you.